Melania Trump could get $50 million in custody of Barron if she divorces Donald. Exclusive, as Donald and Melania Trump marked their 16th wedding anniversary, speculation swirled over their future as husband and wife now that they are no longer president and first lady. Melania Trump could get up to $50 million in custody of her teenage son Barron if she divorces her disgraced husband Donald, top lawyers say. If the former First Lady stays in the marriage for a long time after leaving the White House, she could renegotiate her prenup again to give her more, said New York divorce lawyer Jacqueline Newman. The premarital financial agreement could include penalty clauses for misbehavior, such as Donald's alleged affair with porn star Stormy Daniels, said London divorce lawyer Jeanette Johnson. Speculation over the Trumps' future as husband and wife is rampant after the twice-divorced property tycoon's four-year run as U.S. president, one of the worst ever, finally came to an end this week. The Trumps, who marked their 16th wedding anniversary on Friday, had plenty of frosty or awkward moments in Washington, and it has even been claimed they were sleeping in separate bedrooms in the White House. Former White House aide and The Apprentice contestant Omarosa Manigault Newman claimed in her 2018 book that Melania, 50, was counting every minute until her 74-year-old husband was no longer president so she could divorce him. The Trumps have a transactional marriage and things are so bad they sleep in separate bedrooms in the White House, former friend and advisor Stephanie Winston Wolkoff claimed in her book. The Trumps, whose son Barron is 14, moved back to Donald's Mar-a-Lago resort in Florida as Joe Biden was sworn in as America's 46th president on Wednesday. As they disembarked Air Force One at Palm Beach's airport, a stone-faced Melania kept on walking as Donald stopped to pose for the cameras. What is Donald's net worth? Ms. Newman, a managing partner at the Manhattan law firm of Berkman Bodger Newman & Shine, told the Mirror that the next 12 months will be very telling as to how their marriage plays out. Divorce experts suspect Melania would be in a much more favorable position in the event of a divorce. Donald's net worth declined to $2.5 billion, £1.8 billion, in 2020 from $3.1 billion in 2019, and it might be even lower now due to hotel losses, Forbes reported. He faces a Senate trial after being impeached, and could face legal action now that he is a private citizen again. Some reports claim former fashion model Melania, who was born in Slovenia, has a net worth of $50 million, £36.5 million. When Donald began his only term as U.S. president in January 2017, Melania didn't immediately join him in Washington. She stayed behind in New York for 5 months, delaying her arrival as leverage to renegotiate their prenup, which she referred to as taking care of Barron, to make it more generous, a book by Washington Post journalist Mary Jordan claims. She needed time to cool off after details about the president's alleged sexual indiscretions emerged, the book added. It is difficult to predict the amount Melania would receive in a divorce, said Ms. Newman, but she would likely end up with more than Donald's first 2 wives. She said, I am guessing that she will receive actual cash payments as well as properties. Should she move back to New York City, he will be providing housing for her, whether it means her retaining a property in her own name or that he will provide her with an apartment to live in, which he would own, until their son is emancipated, which is 21 in New York. $50 million? She will also retain any assets that are currently in her own name as well. I would not be surprised if the amounts range between $20 million and $50 million. Ms. Newman added, I think the next year or so will be very telling as to how things will play out with their marriage. Should she remain in the marriage after they leave the White House for a significant amount of time, I would imagine there may be a renegotiation of the agreement. However, should there be a divorce, then the need to renegotiate will be moot. The Trumps likely have the same type of prenup as before, a title dictate prenup, which means all assets in his name are his, those in her name are hers, and any in joint name are equally divided. Ms. Newman said, I would be surprised if there were any assets held in joint name. These types of prenuptial agreements often will then have a lump sum payment, or a payment over time, issued to the non-moneyed spouse. I would bet that whatever amount that Melania was due to receive under the original prenuptial agreement has now been significantly increased. She added, there are probably no assets to be divided. It is just a question of what property or properties she will be entitled to live in and how much of a lump sum payment she will receive, plus any spousal support. What about Barron? Melania's original prenup had not been very generous, and the new agreement ensured that Barron would not be shut out of the family business, Ms. Jordan's book claims. Divorce experts said Melania would likely be Barron's primary caregiver should she and Donald split. Elspeth Kinder, head of family law at JMW Solicitors in Manchester, said, a decision will be made based on meeting Barron's care needs and the best way to do that. We may well see Melania taking the lion's share of Barron's care, particularly given his father's schedule and myriad business interests, although we could also see Donald stepping back from his business empire for a while, particularly following the challenges of recent months, in which case he may wish to be more involved in his son's life. Custody could be shared and Barron's own wishes could be considered, said Philip Rhodes, a partner in the family law team at Slater Healers Solicitors in Manchester. He said, primary custody may have been dealt with in the terms of the prenup. If not, the outcome will depend on a number of factors, including Barron's parents' respective abilities to meet his needs. If they can both meet his needs, then there is no reason why custody couldn't be shared. However, as Barron is now 14 years old, his own views and wishes may be factors which are taken into consideration. Trump's US and UK resorts protected. Ms. Kinder said the bespoke prenup will offer a certain degree of financial protection to Donald. She said, I'd expect Donald and Melania's prenup to divide assets fairly if they choose go their separate ways. It's likely that they will both have sought to retain assets that are close to their heart. Donald's business interests, including Mar-a-Lago and his Scottish golf resort, are likely to be protected. John Zipidowski, whose past clients include disgraced former PR mogul Max Clifford, said Melania may now feel like she requires more from Donald upon their return to private life. The lawyer, of Audley Chaucer Solicitors, said, although the details of the prenup remain secret, the balance may now be more in her favor. On divorce from Donald Trump, provided Mr. Trump is not bankrupt and avoids criminal convictions, Melania Trump could face a very large settlement sum. If there were to be any changes, it is likely to be on Melania Trump's terms. With regards to Barron Trump, Mrs. Trump has been reported to have been fighting his corner, wanting proof in writing that when it came to inheritance and opportunities to be part of the Trump business, Barron would not be left out of the picture. As for the young Trump's care, Melania Trump is likely to remain the primary caregiver, with a substantially large maintenance for his education and well-being. Alleged affairs. Donald's past behavior and allegations of affairs could come back to haunt him. During the 2016 presidential campaign, he faced allegations of sexual assault and inappropriate sexual behavior. He was accused of having affairs with porn star Stormy Daniels and Playboy playmate Karen McDougal. A recording emerged in which Trump bragged about using his celebrity to try to have sex with women and groping them. In a 2005 conversation with the U.S. daytime TV program Access Hollywood, he said, "When you're a star they let you do it. You can do anything." He told presenter Billy Bush when he meets beautiful women he feels able to grab them by the pee. Ms. Johnson, head of family law at a city law firm in London, said it is likely that any settlement between Melania and Donald would be reached privately. Ms. Johnson said, there could be some penalty clauses for misbehavior, for example the allegations regarding Stormy Daniels. It was reported before Melania moved into the White House that she renegotiated her prenuptial agreement, not surprising given the allegations raised. Foremost in her mind was their child Barron. Further, there will no doubt be other assets built up in their marriage during the term and no doubt Melania through her lawyers will reach a private settlement. told presenter Billy Bush when he meets beautiful women he feels able to grab them by the Ms. Johnson, head of family law at a city law firm in London, said it is likely that any settlement between Melania and Donald would be reached privately. Ms. Johnson said, there could be some penalty clauses for misbehavior, for example the allegations regarding Stormy Daniels. It was reported before Melania moved into the White House that she renegotiated her prenuptial agreement, not surprising given the allegations raised. Foremost in her mind was their child Barron. Further, there will no doubt be other assets built up in their marriage during the term and no doubt Melania through her lawyers will reach a private settlement.